Do you feel tired of always being the passive one in every situation? Stop deceiving yourself. You don't understand others, and you have no clue what they're thinking. They stay silent, and you sit there guessing like someone useless, then end up frustrated by your own helplessness. Do you realize this? You offend others without knowing it because you're too clumsy to read their emotions. They feel annoyed, dissatisfied, and you remain oblivious as if nothing happened. Opportunities? You let them slip through your fingers because you're too naive to recognize the signals others are sending. They give you a chance, but you squander it with your lack of awareness. You walk into a negotiation with nothing in hand but your anxiety. You don't know what they want, don't know what they're thinking, and in the end, you lose everything. Even worse, you're misunderstood as being insensitive. Not because you don't care, but because you're not sharp enough to realize what they need. Face the truth. You don't know how to make a good impression. You offer an awkward smile, stumble over your words, and let them judge you as weak. This is why you keep failing. Stop sitting there pitying yourself. It's time to change, or else you'll continue to be left behind, forgotten, and unnecessary. Wake up. Let's build a community of kindness by subscribing to Stoicism for Success right now and sharing it with those you wish to see live with kindness and strength like us. Let's spread these positive values together. Masks, the harsh reality you must face. Who do you think you are, judging others without looking back at yourself? Don't be too proud of the shallow relationships you've built on fake smiles and sweet but manipulative words. Be honest, you're wearing a mask too. And worse, you're being deceived by other masks without even realizing it. This society is a stage where we are all actors, but the issue isn't who acts better. It's how long it will take you to realize that relationships built on falsehood only lead to disappointment and loneliness. Aren't you tired of guessing who's genuine and who's fake? Do you see that by wearing a mask, you're not only hiding yourself, but also destroying your chance to live authentically? Think about your relationships. How many people truly understand you? How many would stand by your side when you have nothing left to offer? If the answer is not many, then you're living a hollow life, a cycle of deceit and disappointment. And don't rush to blame others. You were the first to start this game by refusing to live authentically. Look at reality. Do you respect someone because they're sweet to you but cruel to others? That's not kindness, that's calculation. Do you believe a smile or a few flattering words can create lasting value? Don't be naive. Relationships based on deceit are like sandcastles. Beautiful, but ready to collapse under the slightest pressure. Authenticity isn't an option. It's a requirement if you want a meaningful life. You need courage to remove your mask, face your fears, and accept yourself. At the same time, you need awareness to see that everyone around you is struggling with the same fears. Use empathy to see through their facade instead of judging. If you don't change, don't be surprised when everything around you continues to crumble. Authenticity is the only foundation for sustainable relationships. Without the courage to live genuinely, don't expect anything but loneliness. Remember, the mask you wear not only hides who you are, it suffocates you. Stop destroying relationships with your ignorance. Do you realize that you're killing every chance to build genuine relationships? The questions you ask every day, accusatory, imposing, or even downright foolish, are like bullets shattering the connection between you and others. Face the truth. You don't know how to listen. You only know how to force others to answer in the way you want. And this, without a doubt, is why your life is filled with shallow, tense relationships. Ask yourself, how many times have you made someone feel judged because you asked the wrong way? When a friend shares their struggles at work, do you respond with, "Why did you mess up?" making them feel accused instead of supported? Or when someone is late, do you coldly say, "Why didn't you finish on time?" as if interrogating a suspect? If this is how you communicate, you're not trustworthy. You're someone people want to avoid. The truth is, you don't need to be right. You need to understand. And to understand, you need to ask open-ended questions. Try changing your approach. Instead of attacking with closed questions like, "Why couldn't you do it?" ask, "What's holding you back?" Instead of challenging a friend with, "How can you think that way?" ask, "How do you feel about it?" That's not weakness. It's intelligence. These questions encourage the other person to share, explain, and open up rather than putting up a wall against you. But you're not just destroying relationships, you're isolating yourself. When you don't create space for others to share, they stop sharing with you. The result? Empty conversations and bland relationships where no one truly understands each other. Stop fooling yourself that everything is fine. It's not. If you don't change, you'll continue to live in a cycle of misunderstandings and breakdowns. But if you pause, learn to ask open-ended questions, you'll see a miracle happen. People will listen to you because they feel you're genuinely listening to them. And that's what will change everything. How you treat the weak, a mirror of your dignity or your pettiness. Do you think you're a good person just because you're kind to those in power or people you want to exploit? Take a hard look at yourself. How you treat those who have nothing to offer you, waitstaff, janitors, junior colleagues, is the real test of character. And the truth is, if you look down on these people, you're not good. You're just a weakling disguised as kind. Face reality. Those who loudly berate a server over a small mistake or coldly dismiss someone in a lower role are merely revealing their insecurity and inferiority. They use fake power to mask their weakness because they know these people cannot retaliate. That's not strength. That's pettiness and cowardice. Take this clear example. You're at a restaurant and you see a business partner scolding a server for a late dish. They're not angry about the food. They're angry because they want to feel powerful in a situation where they have the upper hand. They're not just disrespecting others. They're exposing themselves as insecure individuals who need to crush the weak to feel important. Is that the kind of person you want to associate with? In contrast, truly strong and kind individuals don't need to prove anything. They don't judge others by status or titles. A true leader thanks the janitor. The genuine entrepreneur respects junior staff. And a trustworthy friend treats waitstaff with sincere kindness. These small actions don't need grand gestures, but they reflect self-respect and solid character. Do you see the truth now? If you or someone around you treats the weak poorly, it's not just a flaw. It's a declaration of a lack of character. These people don't deserve respect, and you shouldn't delude yourself into thinking they'll treat you well when you no longer hold value in their eyes. Take a hard look at how you or others treat the weak. That's the clearest mirror. And if you don't see the image of a kind person in it, it's time for you to change. Not just to become better, but to salvage the respect you wish to earn from life. Let's come together to support our community. If you are a kind person, please hit the like button on this video and leave some energetic comments to spread positive vibes. Together, we can make a difference. Who are you fooling, yourself or the world? Look directly at the truth. Your life is a chaotic mess of contradictions. You claim to value freedom, yet you bury yourself in a job you despise, shackled by pressure, deadlines, and tasks you never truly wanted. You say you love your family, but how many times have you skipped dinner with them, choosing instead to stay late at the office with the excuse, "I'm doing this for them"? It sounds reasonable, but what's the reality? You're not just lying to yourself, you're destroying your life, day by day, hour by hour. Do you even know what you're doing? The words you keep repeating aren't just meaningless phrases. They are a mirror reflecting your core values. The problem is, you're not living according to those values. Instead, you use your words to mask your incompetence, convincing yourself that you don't need to change, that everything is fine. But it's not fine, and you know it. Think about it. If you constantly say you want peace, why do you keep diving into endless conflicts in toxic relationships? If you say you want wealth and success, why don't you dare step out of your comfort zone to chase it? And if you claim to value honesty, why do you keep lying to yourself about what you truly want? The words you say and the actions you take are at war with each other every day, and that battle is doing nothing but draining you. Self-awareness isn't pleasant, but it's necessary. Stop and ask yourself, what do I truly value? Are the things I constantly talk about, freedom, honor, family, wealth, genuinely reflected in how I live? If the answer is no, wake up. You're living a life that even you don't respect. Don't think things will change naturally. If you don't have the courage to live according to your values, you'll remain trapped in dissatisfaction and meaninglessness. Face this painful truth and let it drive you to change. Not tomorrow, but right now. Otherwise, you're just counting down the days to live a life even you won't want to remember. Soulless art. When the past is forgotten, you call that art? The stuff you consume every day, formulaic songs, flashy but emotionless paintings, and films that are nothing more than visual effects, isn't art. Don't fool yourself. These are soulless commercial products designed to sell, not to touch hearts. Why? Because the creators have ignored the most important thing, the truth from the past. Great art cannot be born from dishonesty or emptiness. A musician who has never felt pain can't compose a song that makes you cry. A writer who hasn't experienced loss can't write a story that moves you. And a painter who has never faced the darkness within their soul can't create anything beyond meaningless colors. The past is the only source of inspiration that brings depth and soul to art. Without it, everything you see is fake. Take music as an example. Today's chart-topping hits disappear as quickly as they arrive. Why? Because they lack authenticity. Compare that to an album like 21 by Adele. She doesn't just sing, she tells her story, a story of love, loss, and pain that anyone can feel. Her past pain turned her voice into a sharp weapon that pierces the hearts of millions. Look at painting. The difference between Vincent van Gogh's works and mass-produced replicas is glaring. Van Gogh didn't paint for money. He painted because he couldn't not paint. It was the only way he could face the pain and loneliness in his life. And the things you see today, they're just industrial products, created to please the market, not to say anything meaningful. If you're an artist or a creator, ask yourself, what are you creating? Are you brave enough to confront your past and turn it into true inspiration? Or are you just producing what you know will sell? If you're choosing the easy path, prepare to be forgotten, because soulless art will never last. But if you dare to dig deep into your past, to face painful truths, you will create something timeless. So, what's your choice? Live authentically, or continue wasting your life in pretense? Stress, a mirror revealing your weakness. Face the reality. Under pressure, there's nowhere to hide. In moments of the greatest stress, your true self is exposed. All your weaknesses, lack of control, and blind spots that you deliberately ignore. Don't excuse it as a moment of losing your temper. No, that's who you are. And if you're not brave enough to see this, stress will continue to destroy your life. You think you're strong? Then why, when pressure hits, do you choose to yell, blame, or collapse? Instead of facing it, you waste energy complaining or making excuses. And the result? Nothing but chaos and failure. You not only make the situation worse, but also lose the respect of those around you. The worst part? You learn nothing from your mistakes. Remember, stress is not an excuse for poor behavior. It's an opportunity to prove your worth. Strong people are not those who never feel pressure, but those who know how to control themselves when everything is falling apart. They don't yell when criticized, nor do they lash out when they fail. Instead, they stay calm, analyze the situation and find solutions. They turn stress into an opportunity to grow, not an excuse to retreat. Look at your failures. How many times have you let your emotions take over, spiraling things out of control? How many times have you blamed the circumstances instead of taking responsibility and improving? If the number is too high, you need to change now. Otherwise, stress will keep controlling you, trapping you in a cycle of weakness. Composure isn't a privilege for the few. It's a skill you must train for, day by day, hour by hour. If you lack the courage to learn how to control yourself, you'll only remain a victim of your own weaknesses. But if you accept the truth, confront your flaws, and practice composure, you won't just overcome stress, you'll conquer yourself. The question is, do you have the courage to begin? Emotions, a mirror exposing what you truly value. Stop deceiving yourself. Your emotions aren't random reactions. They're the rawest reflections of what you truly value. You might try to mask your insecurities with polite words or a facade of stability, but when emotions burst forth, whether it's anger, fear, or joy, every layer of disguise falls away. And whether you like it or not, they expose you clearer than anything else. Do you feel angry when someone criticizes you? It's not because their critique is wrong, but because it hits your fear of being undervalued. You crave recognition, you long for your worth to be affirmed, but instead of confronting the truth that you're dependent on others' validation, you choose to lash out. Worse, you justify it by saying, "This is just a normal reaction." Normal? No, it's weakness. A glaring sign that you lack control over your emotions. And what about the joy you show when praised? You leap with excitement, believing you've achieved something significant. But look deeper. Are you truly satisfied with your achievement, or are you just chasing the fleeting high of being acknowledged? If your happiness hinges entirely on others' approval, congratulations, you're living their life, not yours. Now observe those around you. A colleague nervous about presenting an idea reveals a fear of failure. A friend exploding in anger over a minor comment shows their insecurity about their value. Emotions are unforgiving judges, exposing the true priorities and vulnerabilities people try to hide. If you fail to recognize this, you'll remain a puppet of your emotions, never fully in control of your life. Face it, your emotions are a problem. They're not your enemy, but if you don't learn to understand and control them, they will destroy you. Want to change your life? Start by examining your strongest emotional responses. Ask yourself, why did I react that way? What truly matters to me? More importantly, am I living in alignment with those values, or am I letting emotions dictate my actions? If you're not asking these questions, you're like a drifter, lost in a sea of priorities you don't even comprehend. Change, or forever remain a slave to your own emotions. Judgment, your weapon of self-destruction. You see a colleague arrive late and instantly conclude, they're lazy, irresponsible, unreliable. You judge them, and in doing so, elevate yourself as better, more capable. But do you truly understand what's happening? Or are you rushing to conclusions based on surface appearances you didn't even bother to investigate? Face it, judgment not only makes you look small-minded, but also exposes your impatience and narrow perspective. Stoicism teaches you to pause, not because others are always right, but because the truth rarely lies on the surface. Your colleague might be battling struggles you cannot see, family pressures, a sick relative, or mental health challenges they've never shared. They haven't told you, and you haven't asked. Instead, you choose judgment, frustration, and the trap of assumptions. Imagine this. A coworker frequently arrives late. Each time they show up, you quietly fume, assuming they don't respect your time. But if you took the time to observe and understand, you might find they're juggling an overwhelming schedule, perhaps dropping kids off at school or dealing with sleepless nights over financial stress. You don't know, and instead of seeking to understand, you take the easy route. Judgment. Your judgments do nothing to help them. Instead, they erode your empathy and compassion. You think pointing fingers makes you stronger or better, but in reality, it exposes your inability to observe and understand. The question is, do you want to be someone who always judges or someone who truly understands? Judgment is an easy but useless weapon. Observation and empathy are harder paths but lead to real change. If you're unwilling to change your perspective, you'll remain stuck in a cycle of self-deception, living a small, bitter, and meaningless life. Don't let judgment define you. Choose to observe or accept mediocrity. The choice is yours. Observation, seeing beyond words. Understanding others doesn't require spoken words. It's a skill rooted in observation. The key lies in focusing on their behaviors, emotions, and reactions across different situations. Strong emotions, whether anger, joy, or anxiety, are the clearest indicators of what someone values. A person who gets angry when criticized may fear being undervalued, while someone who lights up when praised likely prioritizes personal achievement. The Stoic philosophy teaches you to observe without judging. Pay attention to how people treat the weak, handle stress, or express emotions in challenging moments. It's in these unguarded instances that their true selves emerge. Observation requires patience and clarity, two qualities that allow you to see beyond the surface and understand the motivations, fears, and true values driving others. Observation not only helps you understand others, but also builds empathy, deepens connections, and fosters more meaningful relationships. Stop judging. Listen with your eyes. Thank you for watching this video. Let's support our wonderful community by hitting subscribe and turning on notifications right now. Show everyone that you're living kindly by liking the video and sharing your experiences in the comments. Take action now to spread positive energy.